Ricardo, how you doing? Okay, so I'm a little early, and I'm glad that you're here, and that's really well. That's good, man. You know, Ricardo, by the end of next week, I should have the book or the textbook or whatever you want to call it complete. I don't know about the price of the book yet, but I know shipping is going to be kind of expensive for me to ship it to you in Brazil. Whereabouts in Brazil do you live? Okay, all right, anyway, you can answer me whenever you feel like it. We're going to be working with the stick control book and the syncopation book. You know, everybody thinks, well, reading is not important. Reading is a language, it's mathematical, and it's very important. It makes you understand how music flows and what the notation represents. It's very mechanical. All right, I'll find out. You give me an email. Give me your address, and I'll find out how much it would cost to ship that. Okay, and you make a decision. We'll work something out. You'll be able to get the book. You're consistent. You have a passion to learn, and you are a follower here. It's not a problem. Okay. So what we're going to do tonight, I'm talking about reading and the syncopation book. And reading, like, you know, well, I don't have to have it read. I play by ear. I play in the pocket. I play by feel. Well, yeah, I do too. I play by ear because I hear the music. I play in the pocket because I want to get a groove going on. But I also understand notation. And notation is a stepping stone to understand music better. Period. So, with that being said, you know, when you first learned how to play drums, or you took your first drum lessons, me, it was the Haskell Har book and the Buddy Rich book. Now, today things have changed. It's the Buddy Rich book. The Haskell Har book don't exist anymore, I don't think. And reading. Reading is, in the beginning, very boring, very bland, and very shallow. You know, you get the syncopation book or some reading text, you start with page 1, you go through the whole book to the end, and the teacher says, all right, book 2. That's pretty shallow. So what you need to do is make reading a lot of fun. And there's a lot of different platforms to reading. You know, you have to understand the notation, the mathematical system, you know, the whole note, the half note, the quarter note, eighth note, 16th and 32nd. It's the language, what it represents. It's mathematical. It's just like fractions. That's all it is. And it's up to you to take the fractions and make them musical. So with that being said, and, you know, practicing all the time, you know, with the vamps, working vamp, 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 you know, exercising your hands, trying to get a better set of hands, which is a great thing. All right, that's what we're trying to do all the time. So let's take, for example, I want to be pretty shallow, not shallow, but bland. That's the better word. To something like the syncopation book, page 10, lesson 4. Let's hit that. Okay, let's hit page 10. Now, when you first started to learn, whether your teacher would tell you to count, if he didn't tell you to count, you should leave and get another teacher, because counting is essential. So, the systems of count that we're going to use for this particular page, page 10, lesson 4, line 1, is an eighth note count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and. Now, something you probably nobody's ever told you, when I count in a staccato. I count a staccato sound. Now, staccato means short sounding. If I counted regularly 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I'm not incorrect. I'm counting eighth notes. But staccato makes the sound of my count short, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It doesn't make me tight. It makes me right. It makes me feel the pocket, feel the groove. So we're going to go to line 1. And I'm going to count eighth notes, an eighth note count, and I'm going to count staccato. 1 and play and 1. I'm sorry. Oh, we can get the banga. Sorry about that. Okay. Line 1 again. 1 and play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's pretty bland and it gets boring. You say, well, what am I going to use this for? I want to play some tunes. I want to hear some coordination. So let's have a little fun with it. Let's be creative. You understand, the guys that have been following this stream are pretty well rounded and understand how to read very well. So we've been through the stick control book with the vamps and so on and so forth. So what I want to do is make this more musical. I could play that with one hand, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, or I can move it around. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now I'm discovering the difference of sound, but I'm inside of the talk, inside of the count. Now, what I like to do when I practice is consolidate my practice. I mean, I'm not just going to sit there and do the whole stick control book, page 5, 6, and 7, half strokes with the vamp at variety of tempos, which is good for me. You know, it helps my hands. That's a way. But what I like to do is make the reading a lot more fun and developmental. Okay, so we're still in the counting system. What I want to do is play my left-hand vamp. That's eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to play my bass drum, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to play my hi-hat, 2 and 4, heel and toe, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now while I'm doing that, pick it up a little bit, I'm going to play all what's written on page 10, line 1, over here on the floor tom-tom with my right hand against that pattern. Watch. Now, if you want me to slow that down, I will, but it makes reading a lot more fun. Now, one method, if you understand that, that's fine. If you don't understand it, I'll slow it down and explain to you what I just did, limb by limb. We okay with this, guys? Yes? No? Maybe, by chance? Okay. Now, I've come across, I never met Alan Dawson. Alan Dawson was the head of the percussion department at Berklee School of Music at one time. And after he left, then it was Gary Chaffee. All right, but anyway, Alan Dawson had his Rudimental Ritual, which was a great book. Okay, now, he would take a syncopation book and make it long and short. The notes, the eighth notes were short, the quarter notes were long. So here's another way to really distribute your knowledge of reading and coordination at the same time. So, hey Joe, how you doing? If I'm playing eighth notes, constant, my bass drum, 1, 2, 3, 4, hi-hat 2 and 4, well, we're going to change that. We're going to play the vamp constant. And we're going to make the short notes, which are eighth notes, the floor tom-tom, and the quarter note, the long note with the bass drum. For example, if I did line 1, it would be 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Against this. Now you're reading it. You're having a good time. You understand how to read it. Now you're developing it and you're being creative and you're exercising. Okay? Now I can make that line linear. Now, how do I make the line linear? I'm just giving you different ways to understand how to read this and how to play it and develop, open up some doors to be creative. Now, how do I make this linear? Well, linear is a straight line of rhythm. If I played eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that is one measure of linear. That's a straight line of eighth notes. Okay? Now, how can I make line 1 linear? Well, if I played, and I'm counting eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I played what was there with my right hand, 1 and 2 on the floor, tom-tom, 2 and 4, and again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I'm going to fill in the blanks to make it linear, the remainder of the eighth note with my bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's it. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. I got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Got it? Just another way. I could do that between, if you have 2 wing tom-toms or 2 floor tom-toms, you could play one time on the snare. The line is being played with the left hand. You have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and just a whole variety of ways to do it. And have fun with it. So reading is not so bland, but there are stages. I mean, if you're 10 years old or 12 years old and you go into your local music store and get the drum teacher to teach you to read, well, he's going to have to start you someplace. Quarter notes, eighth notes, 16ths, triplets, you understand the language. It's essential you learn how to read. Well, Buddy Rich didn't learn how to read. Bullshit, he knew how to read. Period. That's just a myth. Buddy Rich practiced a whole lot more than what you could understand. Everybody practices, whether it's playing with the band or without a band or by yourself, without a band by yourself. Okay? Now, what I want to do is take the stick. I mean, if you want me, let's do one more version of this. We'll stay on page 10, lesson 4, line 1. If you want me to continue down the page, I will. But I'm just showing you some variety ways to read this. By me doing line 1, you could do the whole page like that, the different ways I showed you. Now, let's talk about swing. Or, yeah, swing the line. You'll hear that term, or you'll see if you're reading the chart, swing. And it's written straight up and down like this, because that's what it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and is straight up and down. Now I'm going to say swing. All right, swing means I'm going to open up the distance between the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, triplets. Now, technically, I didn't change the quarter note, but I changed the feel inside of the quarter note when I played triplets. So now, when I want to swing eighth notes and quarter notes or whatever notes I'm going to swing, I revert to an eighth note triplet count. Now, guys, maybe you're accustomed to doing triplet counts as 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, which is cool. It's not incorrect. If that works for you, stay with it. For me, I don't really like that approach nor way to count. The way I count it, we're going to the swing field. We're going to count triplets. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. So if I have a run of eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I say swing that, all the ands, what I just did, all the ands become the duh of the triplet. Naturally, the downbeat remains the same. So if I'll do it slow, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. A little faster. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the bop. You understand that? Okay, now if I did page 10, lesson 4, line 1, and I said, okay, no straight up and down, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, I want to swing that. So I'm going to play 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. So now, here's what I want to do. What's that? We're going to do a triplet vamp with the left hand. 1 and the 2 and the 4 and the. My bass drum is going to be on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. My hi-hat, I'm using a heel toe. 1 and the 2, ho, 3 and the 4. Heel on 1, toe on 2, heel on 3, toe on 4. 1 and the 2 against the triplet. And in this particular case, I'm going to play my bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got that feel. Now we're going to take the first line of the syncopation book and we're going to play it swung with the right hand on the floor tom-tom. So that would give me 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 against the triplets. Get it, guys? That's line 1. Line 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Line 3. 2, 3, 4, 1. That's hard to count and do this. But you understand it, you get the object. Now you can do answer call. Okay, and we'll do the linear thing too, but when I say answer and call, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, with the right hand in 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 against the triplet. Line 1, back and forth. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Get it, guys? Understand it? Yes, por favor, no, maybe. Okay, that should be enough from the syncopation book for a while. Now we go to the stick control book. Now, the stick control book, I do every day. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, vamp. 2, 3, 4, line 2. Now, it's good to do that every day on a drum pad, on a snare drum. Sim, what is that? S-I-M, what is that, Joe? I don't understand what that is, sim. So now, what I want to do is take the stick control book and reference off page 5, line 1. I look at line 1, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I say, okay, let me eliminate the lefts. And I get the rights, and I'm going to play them on the floor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Line 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. Line 3. Oh, is that a language, Portuguese or Spanish or something? I don't know. I'd rather just say yes. No fancy stuff, guys. Is it, Ricardo, you speak Portuguese. Does that mean yes? Sim. Thank you for the education. Okay. Now this time, what we're going to do is we're going to vamp eighth notes, and we're going to play all the rights down. Like line 3 again, my interpretation would be 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. My left hand is going to be playing eighth notes. I'm going to run down the first 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, we got that. Sim Joe. Yes, Joe. Okay. To say my name in Portuguese, I believe it would be Mateus. Okay, any questions on that, gentlemen? All right, let me do stick control again. I'm going to play eighth note vamp. I'm going to run down 5 lines. I'm going to play the first 5 lines on the floor tom-tom. Then I'm going to randomly switch back and forth. In no particular line. I'm going to play eighth notes. Having fun with it. We all understand it, right? Okay. Now, again, we go to the triplet vamp as opposed to the eighth note. So we're playing the triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to interpret the stick control book as swung. I'll slow it down. 1, 2, all rights on the floor tom-tom. 1, 2, line 2. 3. 4. 5. Now, if you do that for 3, 4, 5 minutes a day, interpreting the page with the metronome, you're going to have one hell of a left hand. If I'm going to do it for that extended period of time, I'm not really following any kind of sequence from the page. I'm maintaining the triplet vamp, my bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4, my hi-hat 2 and 4, and I'm randomly picking out a figure to play between, say, just the floor tom-tom or the small tom-tom, or some sort of melody line. It really helps. Okay, any questions? No questions? Now, I'm on page 7 of a 10-page booklet. Hopefully I'll have it done by Monday. If I do, I'm going to get them printed out and binded and whatever, and I'll have a price. Joe, are you going to purchase that workbook? Yes or no? So I know how many to get. I would really appreciate an answer, and whoever else is here. There is other people here watching, but they're not in the chat. Okay. So, Joe, can you answer me, please? I know Ricardo wants one. Joe, I hope you want one. Dave Franikowski wants one. Randy Cohen wants one. Well, I'm trying to minimize the cost. It's no more than $25 plus the shipping. Where do you live at, Joe? What kind of city or state? I think you're in Massachusetts. Okay, Joe, for you. Okay, so that's so 4. All right, I'm going to print them up. Anyway, I have nothing else to offer tonight as far as the lessons are concerned. All right. Anyway, I've been getting some feedback from members of my site. They're telling me, why should they pay if they're going to watch this for free? This is a temporary thing. I'm doing this to network, and the traffic on YouTube is a lot stronger, obviously, than my web page or Facebook. So they're paying a membership fee, and the guys here who are not paying a membership fee are getting the same thing. So I'm kind of disappointed in some of the donations. Okay, like I got a nice donation the other day from Randy. He's really good about that, and you know he appreciates it. So if you appreciate what I'm doing for you, you can put something into my PayPal account as a gift. You want to use my email. Now, I'm not demanding any amount, whatever you feel it's worth or whatever you want to send. My email, this is how you send me the money there, Ricardo. And Joe, you already donated one time before, so you know. But send it as a gift if you're going to do it again. My email again. Well, good. When we get 100,000 members, Joe, in the Art of Drumming group, I am going to have an event in Somerville, New Jersey, and it'll be a 2-day thing. I'm going to get all kinds of artists to do drum clinics. I'm going to have giveaways, and, you know, we'll have a great old time. What's this? No problem, Ricardo. I'm not demanding it. I think it would be nice of everybody. $1, $2, you know, whatever. $10, $20. I mean, everybody's not rich like Randy. What he sent me, you wouldn't believe. Randy's a good person. Okay, anyway. Any questions about this evening? Because I'm gonna cut it short tonight. I'm only gonna give a half hour. And I will be back Monday, 7 p.m. Okay? Unless there's some questions now. And hopefully I'll have all the books and a price for everybody. When I go to the post office, Ricardo, I want to see how much the shipping would be. If it's too much, I mean, we'll do something else. Not a problem. Hey Joe, that's really nice, man. That's good. Ricardo's a very passionate person. I really wish I knew who he exactly was. Thank you. That's very nice of you, Joe. Ricardo, are you on Facebook in any of the Art of Drumming groups? Because you could ask a question on Facebook in one of the groups. All right, I'll go to UPS, United Parcel Service or UPS. All right, well, I'll find out. We'll work it out. Okay, Ricardo, don't worry. You'll get the book. Ricardo, if you're in the Facebook groups, you could ask me a question. You could put in a comment a question or something in Portuguese if you like, and it has a translation. I can understand it. Are you in any of the Art of Drumming groups? The Art of Drumming, the Stick Control Formulas, the Syncopation Room, the Joe Morello Master Studies, Gary Shafee. Are you in any of all those groups? If not, and if we're friends on Facebook, I'm sure that we are. I'll enter you. There's a lot of good discussion going on, a lot of knowledge, all kinds of players from extremely beginners to extremely advanced to morons. Everybody wants to be fast and give me a hard time. Right, Joe? You heard that yesterday. I have over 3 or 4 thousand members in the cover tune band, or in post photos of your drum kit. I made the rooms just for that. I don't want to clog up the Art of Drumming to hear somebody play something by Metallica. That's why you have. That's why you have YouTube or the cover tune band room. Sure, and posting photos of your drum set. I get all kinds of craziness, but that's all right. It's colorful, and I have to expect it. Joe, Ricardo, and whoever else is watching, have a good night. I have to sign off now. Gentlemen, have a good night.